The NFL has no answer for what the Kansas City Chiefs are doing, so we're going to be going through that and 3 other stories in today's video. So make sure to like this video, and if you want more Kansas City Chiefs news content like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel by hitting that red button down below. The first story is the Kansas City Chiefs become first back-to-back NFL champions in 19 years. The Kansas City Chiefs on Sunday became the first team to win back-to-back Super Bowls in 19 years, downing the San Francisco 49ers 25-22 in overtime in Las Vegas. Led by quarterback Patrick Mahomes, the Chiefs have won Super Bowls in 3 of the past 5 seasons. Kansas City quarterback Patrick Mahomes, voted most valuable player in all 3 of his Super Bowl victories, was 34 of 46 for 333 yards, with 2 touchdowns including the game winner and 1 interception. Mahomes also had 66 yards rushing, including a 19-yard scramble on the game's final drive. Second-year Niners quarterback Brock Purdy looked calm and collected in the pocket and was 23 of 38 for 255 yards and 1 touchdown. All-Pro running back Christian McCaffrey had 80 yards on the ground and 80 through the air. Wide receiver Jauan Jennings became the second person in Super Bowl history to throw and catch touchdown passes. Veteran tight end Travis Kelce, who only had 1 catch for 1 yard in the first half, finished with 9 receptions and 93 yards, but didn't find the end zone. 49ers kicker Jake Moody kicked 3 field goals, including one that temporarily held the Super Bowl record as the longest, but he had an extra point blocked in regulation. The game was a rematch of the Super Bowl 4 years ago, when the Chiefs pulled away in the 4th quarter to win 31-20. Here are the key takeaways from the Super Bowl. Mahomes, Kelce, head coach Andy Reid, and other key contributors to the Chiefs' recent run can now put themselves alongside NFL legends in the pantheon of the sport's greatest. From Tom Brady and Bill Belichick to Terry Bradshaw and Chuck Noll, the list of individuals and teams to have the level of success the Chiefs have had is an exclusive one. Now, the modern-era Kansas City Chiefs are amongst those greats of the game. With 3 titles in 5 seasons and back-to-back championships to their name, the Chiefs are the NFL's next dynasty. And with Mahomes as their quarterback, who many are suggesting is the best to ever do it, there's no reason for them to stop. The weight of the moment could be seen catching up to Mahomes after the winning touchdown as he collapsed on the sideline after a mazy celebratory run. "The whole game was of our whole entire season," Mahomes told CBS afterwards. "It was the defense keeping us in there, and then the offense making plays when it counted. I'm just proud of the guys. They kept believing." Sunday's Super Bowl was a snapshot into what Reid and general manager Brett Veach have built over the years. Gone are the days of the Chiefs scoring 50 points every game with Mahomes throwing the ball from pillar to post. Now, Kansas City is built upon longer possessions with a strong running game and a dominant defense. And while Mahomes and Kelce struggled in the first half of Super Bowl LV it was the other facets of the team which stood up in their place. The defense stopped the typically explosive 49ers regularly, in particular in the second half when the Chiefs' offense began to pick up. But when it came to the crunch time in the 4th quarter and overtime, it was the trusted combination of Mahomes and Kelce to get Kansas City over the line. Mahomes converted key 4th downs with his legs and looked to Kelce throughout the second half, and overtime the tight end finished with 9 receptions and 93 yards after just 1 catch in the opening half. And once the red and yellow confetti had rained down and Mahomes had lifted his Super Bowl MVP award, the 3rd of his career, the star quarterback was looking to the future, not what has passed. "It's a start of a dynasty. We are not done," Mahomes said immediately after the game. "I know we are going to celebrate tonight, celebrate with the parade Wednesday in Kansas City, but we are not done. Got a young team, we are going to keep this thing going," and Kelce, who celebrated on the field with girlfriend Taylor Swift, had a similar outlook. "The goal has always been to get 3, but we couldn't get here without getting to 2 and having that target on our back all year," he said on the CBS broadcast. "And I love these guys right here. The men that we just won this thing with, family forever, baby." Even before Sunday's Super Bowl, some were having the conversation about whether Patrick Mahomes was the greatest quarterback ever. Although he struggled for much of the game against the 49ers, Mahomes was able to provide the vital contributions at just the right times. Whether it was connecting with Kelce 8 times in the second half to make the most of Dre Greenlaw's absence or converting key downs with his running ability, Mahomes had all the answers for what the 49ers were throwing at him. The second story is Chiefs signed defensive coordinator Steve Spagnuolo to extension. In Spags, the Kansas City Chiefs trust indeed. The Chiefs showed their trust in Steve Spagnuolo, their defensive coordinator, by signing him to a contract extension, the team announced. Spagnuolo guided the Chiefs to the second-best scoring defense in the regular season in 2023 as the Chiefs won their 8th straight AFC West championship. They allowed an average of 17.3 points per game. The Chiefs were even better defensively in the postseason, holding 4 of the 6 highest-scoring teams in the league during the regular season to an average of less than 16 points per game, as the Chiefs became the first team to win back-to-back Super Bowls in 20 years. The Chiefs had on average the youngest defensive team in the NFL at 25.4 years old. Chiefs players made T-shirts during the playoffs that read, "In Spags We Trust." Very grateful for the job that Spags did with the defensive side, Coach Andy Reid said Tuesday. "I thought that they were a great example to everybody of taking young guys, teaching them and watching them grow." Spagnuolo, 64, was an assistant for Reid for 8 seasons with the Philadelphia Eagles before heading out on his own coaching journey that included 3 years as the head coach of the Rams. They reunited in 2019 when Spagnuolo joined the Chiefs. Spagnuolo was their coordinator for the Chiefs' Super Bowl championships in 2019 and 2022 as well. Travis Kelce is at his best on the Super Bowl stage once all the confetti cannons have fired and the Lombardi Trophy is smudged by so many fingerprints and smooches. That's when he finally gets to glare into the camera, narrow his eyes into a you'd-better-believe-it stare, and warn all the naysayers to quit doubting the Kansas City Chiefs. Maybe now everyone will start listening. After the Chiefs rallied past the San Francisco 49ers 25-22 Sunday night to become the NFL's first repeat champion in nearly 20 years and the first team to win consecutive Super Bowls as underdogs, Kelce was quick to show there's not an ounce of contentment in KC. "Well, you know the goal has always been to get 3, Kelce screamed after sharing a kiss with his girlfriend Taylor Swift. "How about that? We get a chance to do it 3 times in a row." Odds makers are already saying it's a better bet that Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers will finally figure out how to scale that stage themselves a year from now in New Orleans than for Kelce, Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, and that dominant defense to snare another Lombardi for their crowded trophy case. After all, none of the 7 previous teams to successfully defend their Super Bowl trophy even made it back to the big game for a shot at a three-peat. The Chiefs don't mind being underdogs already or again, for that matter. To win the franchise's 4th title, they had to beat Buffalo, Baltimore, and the Niners, all of whom were favored, after dispatching the Miami Dolphins and former teammate Tyreek Hill on Wild Card Weekend. The Chiefs traded Hill 2 seasons ago, something that was supposed to send them into reloading mode, if not a full rebuild, or even a tailspin. Instead, they overcame the odds and so many obstacles to beat the Eagles in last year's Super Bowl. Afterward, Kelce gleefully glared into the camera and delivered his message. "Not one of y'all said the Chiefs were going to take it home this year. Not a single one," Kelce hollered as Mahomes, the game's MVP, just like he was on Sunday, looked on, smiling. Feel that, feel it. And on top of that, next time the Chiefs say something, put some respect on our names. Then, for much of the season, it looked as if the crowing Kelce would be eating crow. Mahomes' passes kept ricocheting off his receivers' hands. His offensive line kept committing costly penalties. The Chiefs dropped 5 of 8 games at one point, punctuated by their first loss to Denver since 2015. Like most champions, the Chiefs had a hard time keeping the band together last offseason. Left tackle Orlando Brown Jr. signed a big contract with the rival Cincinnati Bengals, and right tackle Andrew Wiley bolted to Washington. They were replaced by Donovan Smith and Jawan Taylor, who turned out not to be downgrades after all. Juju Smith-Schuster bolted to the Patriots, and Mecole Hardman went to the Jets. Although when Mahomes' targets caught a nasty case of the Butterfingers, the Chiefs reacquired the much-maligned Hardman, who caught Mahomes' winning touchdown pass in overtime Sunday night. The Chiefs entered the playoffs as the AFC's number 3 seed. They won at Buffalo and at Baltimore in the postseason, the first road playoff games of Mahomes' career, and entered the Super Bowl as 2.5-point underdogs, according to FanDuel Sportsbook. After defying the odds, the Chiefs are now talking about a third consecutive trophy. The third story is Chiefs WR Mecole Hardman had this to say about his game-winning touchdown. Mecole Hardman began his 2023 NFL season as a member of the New York Jets. Hardman put a close to everyone's season when he hauled in the game-winning touchdown of Super Bowl LVE, propelling his Kansas City Chiefs to a 25-22 overtime win against the San Francisco 49ers on Sunday night. The whirlwind hasn't ended for the Super Bowl hero, who was joined by teammate L'Jarius Sneed, working a shift at Raising Cane's in Kansas City on Tuesday. When Hardman hauled in the 3-yard game-winning score from Patrick Mahomes, he briefly paused before celebrating. It's a play that even 2 days later he doesn't even completely recall. I kinda don't remember it in a sense. I kinda blacked out for real.